Welcome to How's Your ePresence? This show is produced by ePresence, and I'm Mark Galvin, your host. This is an exciting week. We are broadcasting to you from Atlanta, Georgia. And I know we have watchers and viewers from all over the world. Well, something pretty cool happened this week in our fine city. Our baseball team, the Atlanta Braves, won the World Series. This city is nuts. It is so exciting to see a community gather together, no matter what your priorities are, what your focus is, what your loves are. It is fun to see everybody come together around a common cause. And that's what's pretty cool about the Braves winning the World Series. Everybody is so excited about this. So congratulations to the Braves. We are so thrilled that they have won that. I actually live in Atlanta because my grandfather was a journeyman in baseball. He was a minor league baseball player, came to Atlanta in the 20s and 30s and stayed. He was an Irish Catholic from Boston. Definitely out of place, but nonetheless, it's why I'm here. So I certainly love baseball. I can't start the show without giving a little kudos to my favorite team. So welcome to How's Your ePresence? This is what we do at this show. We like to talk about stuff that goes on in digital marketing. What does that mean? Anything that has to do with how you can do your business a little better. We like to talk about that marketing piece. Today, our show is truly focused on something unique because of our partnership with SPIRE. SPIRE is a group of elite professionals bettering themselves. They're also interested in bettering their business, their communities, and SPIRE is an acronym that stands for service, proximity, intention, reciprocity, and excellence. I love the relationship that we have with SPIRE because this is such a high quality organization. I love going to their programs because of the high quality business people that are in the room. It is a networking event, but at the same time, there is a common cause and energy that goes with that. Bill Courtwright is the founder. My hat's off to Bill. He, as a host, he does a fantastic job at these shows. So we love the partnership. What does this partnership mean to you? It means we get to meet with the speaker before they show up that evening. So yes, tonight is the SPIRE event. And the guest will be here today. And I'm going to introduce you to her in just a moment. But what's great here is you can hear something brand new. You get to hear what's going on, what the guest will talk about tonight, and maybe ask a question before you go tonight. If you're new to this broadcast, How's Your ePresence? Welcome. Our shows, as I mentioned before, our show's topic run the gamut on business and its intersection with marketing. So we've done some really cool shows recently. One of them was how to conduct a profitable live event with Howie Zales. Howie is an unbelievably smart guy, understanding how to run cameras at the very least. He used to run cameras for major sporting events, and now he does online meetings. Absolutely amazing guy. You should check that out. One more to highlight is how to run an e-commerce shop with Catherine Smith of Walton Birch. She helps you set up your e-commerce site. We always learn interesting things from folks like that because we don't focus on e-commerce at ePresence. So it's always good to learn some of those great things. I think you'll find that show interesting. Our shows are live and we run them either Tuesdays or Thursdays. On average, they're always Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Yeah, Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Atlanta time, or Thursdays at 3. Love for you to join us. You can ask us questions when you tune in. We always love when our viewers throw a question to our guests. If you're tuning in live, go to that little chat box that there wherever you are and tell us where you're tuning in from. Atlanta, Peru, wherever it is. Send a little note, give a little city and state where you're joining us from. We love to hear about all the great people and where you're joining us from. As we go through the show with our guest today, if you have a question, just type it there into the chat box. I will share it with the guest. In fact, I'll display it right on the screen. So that's pretty cool. We'll display your question for our guest and give you a little kudos for asking that. What are we going to talk about? Let's get into that. Today, we're going to talk about what is a legacy business. We're also going to get into whether businesses should focus on leads or sales, right? Should they focus on leads or sales? It's going to be a good conversation. How about this? What's the importance of community involvement? And one last one is finally really about generation, accountability, and building relationships as business leaders. If you're here for the first time, we'd love for you to subscribe. The reason we ask you to subscribe is because you'll get notified when we go live. And if you get that notification, you can pop in and ask a question. Just run it on the sidebar, turn it on your screen, your second screen. I think everybody has two screens today, right? Leave it on your second screen and ask a question while you're working on that next big contract. All right, great. Let me introduce you to our guest today. Our guest is Celeste Giordano. She has her own coaching firm, and let me tell you a little bit about her. Her mission is to help business owners develop the skills, knowledge, and attitude necessary to double plus their income and become effective and inspirational leaders in their fields. If you're listening to this and that doesn't inspire you, I'm a little worried about you. Send me a note. We'll have to talk. Also, she develops the exact skills and strategies businesses need to enroll more quality prospects, build a rock-solid team, and break through obstacles to achieve real profit and lasting success. This is good. She's a business growth specialist, a master sales strategist, and a dynamic speaker. She's also the co-founder of the Women of Community Impact, and she's an advisory board member of the College and Career Academies at Central Gwinnett High School. Speaking of being involved in the community, she's also a sports alumni of Mentor for students at Berry College. Just a reminder, ask us questions now that you know who's coming on, and just pop them right onto your little chat box, and we will show that up on the screen. All right. So I think that's all I've got for the intro stuff. I think it's time to meet Celeste. What do you guys think? Let's see if we can find her. Where is she? There she is. Celeste, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark. I'm so glad to be here. It's an honor and privilege.
Well, that's very nice. I think the honor and privilege is ours. You host your own radio show. Tell us a little bit about your show.
Well, the show is with WCEG Talk Radio, and Penny Rogers is the founder of the nonprofit. And we host a show, Sarah Poe, who's also the co-founder of Women of Community Impact. And twice a month, we host a show called the Global Legacy Wealth Building. And the first show each month has to do with for-profit, and the second show each month has to do with nonprofit.
Oh, well, that's fantastic. Well, I'm thrilled you're here. This is a format and a program that you're going to feel really comfortable with because you do that often. So I do appreciate you carving a little time with us and to spend with SPIRE tonight. You'll enjoy SPIRE. It's such a terrific program. But I got a few questions to throw at you. Are you ready for some questions?
I am ready, sir. All
right. So the first one is that some business owners really want their businesses to be legacy businesses. What is a legacy business, and why is that important?
Well, and that's a great question, Mark. And, a lot of people think of legacy as something where when a family member maybe passes on and they leave material, financial well-beings to you, or they leave businesses to you, they leave buildings to you, or it's somebody that has a building that they've named after you. This is what a lot of people think a legacy is. And what I'd like to do is read from you straight from my computer here is,
oh, good.
To me, a legacy is interconnection across time with a need for those who have come before us and a responsibility to those who come after us. Legacy is fundamental to what it is to be human. So we can leave a legacy with people instilled in them with our morals, values, and ethics. We can leave a legacy with being a philanthropist and serving in the community and giving back to the community. And, we see a lot of nonprofits today involving children and building legacy businesses as long as in helping nonprofits, because this is where it all starts, is in the younger generation. So I think that's a wonderful thing that we can give back and be human, and we can give back in a servant heart leadership matter.
Oh, I really think that's awesome. And, there's a part to being a business owner where it is easy to look at the day-to-day. You've got accounting work to work on. You have to hire people. And in today's environment, hiring people can be a bit of a challenge, right? Because it's harder to find workers. All of these things can distract you from some of the core values of your business, and those values really make it almost more sustainable, more long lasting, turns it into that legacy piece. I think that that's brilliant. How do you help people turn their businesses into a legacy business?
Well, one of the first things that we do is when people that I work with, my ideal clients, usually they have already had a very successful career in corporate America and they have retired. And so they have had a passion to start a business in the second half of their life. So a lot of those people don't have the skill sets in running a business. They don't know anything about accounting, bookkeeping,
Oh, wow.
a relationship with an attorney, relationship with an insurance person. They don't understand that.
That's me. You're speaking to me. By the way, I know all of you that are watching, you think this show's really for you. This is really all about me. Anyway, keep going, Celeste.
So anyway, you have to help these people. They don't know what they don't know. And I have seen time and time again that people get involved and they rely on a referral from a family person or something. And what happens is they get taken advantage of because they don't have the right person in the corner with them that already has vetted a good attorney, a good, relationship with a bank, an insurance person, a financial advisor. The list goes on and on and on because they didn't know anything about that. So
Right.
that's one of the things that we do. And then the biggest thing is they have no idea how to market or sell. And that's your job right there, Mark, and the ePresence and the marketing. They're clueless to that. I have a client just recently that we've been talking about social media and hasn't had anything. And this week they finally decided, okay, I think I need a social media presence. And you have to have social media presence.
Yeah, and I will, and I can riff on that for hours. But yeah, it is important that you address all the spokes of the marketing wheel, and social media is certainly one of those. Well, one of the things that you can do with your digital space and your digital marketing is it helps build leads and sales. But you said something pre-show that I thought was interesting. You said it is better to focus on leads versus sales. Why is that? And what is the result of that type of advice?
And that's a great question, Mark. What I have found in my 43 years in direct sales, and 36 years of that was with a franchise, is that people come into the business and they're always worried about money, number one, because they do have to pay their bills. And they've never run a business, so they're worried about money. And some of them started the business with a little nest egg. But then the other thing is they don't know how to sell. They don't know how to market. And so what I have to do is do what I call is a mind shift, not a mindset, but a mind shift. And what it is I have to let them know that right up here, you have $1 million opportunity right here in your brain. And you have to have a mind shift to fall in love with people first and then fall in love with sales. Because most people that you talk to, they will say, I hate sales. I don't like sales. I don't like doing this. I don't like doing that. Well, in most businesses today, everything evolves around sales. So you better fall in love with people and you better fall in love with sales. And the other thing is that don't focus on the sales, okay? Because there's a system and process that will get you the byproduct of the money and the sales. So number one is instead of focusing on money, focus on leads, because without leads, you can't make money. The second thing is don't focus on the money, focus on taking that lead and turning it into an appointment, which is a date, time, and place. And then once you have that, don't focus on the money, focus on the sales call, whether it be in person, whether it be Zoom, or through a telephone. And then instead of focusing on money, focus on the sale, and the sales will get you the money. It all comes back to lead generation, building relationships. One thing that I don't have it with me today, but when I first started my consulting business, Mark, I had a brick, and a friend of mine in Ontario, Canada, wrapped it in gold foil paper for me for a presentation. And what it was is that when I gave this message about leads, appointments, sales calls, sales, and money, The brick represented lead generation and building relationship. See,
Hmm.
the world is paved in gold bricks. It's just we have to fall in love with the gold bricks and the people. And the people will take us to the appointments, and the appointments will take us to the complimentary sales calls. And the complimentary sales calls will net result sales. And at the end result, you achieved your sales goal.
Oh, I think that this is brilliant. You know, there's a tip here, and it is if you're going to start your own business as a business owner, you really need to have a skill set of being able to generate leads, because as a business owner, that is one of your key things. You're the face of the franchise. We've heard that, right? You're the
Absolutely.
face of the business. And even if it's a large org or a small organization, you're still going to be that face. And that there's a whole other conversation about how interconnected do you want to have the business owner connected to that brand, but it's still important. People are going to want to know who's running the joint, right? Before they decide to stroke a check and give you a check. So I love that. I think that that's absolutely fascinating. There's also, and I'd be curious about this, Celeste, when people focus on the leads, and there's a couple of things you said. You focusing on what's in front of you is something that you didn't say it that way, but I really like that. Focus on the leads, then focus on that appointment, and focus on where you are in the process versus thinking, I got to sell, I got to sell. I think that's a really, really smart thing for all businesses and as salespeople too, to focus on. But isn't there a piece where if I focus on building those relationships, building my relationship with the community, focusing on leads, don't I feel more satisfied as a human being? Is there that part of this, or am I off the mark?
No, I'm not sure that I really understand that question, Mark.
Well, that's okay. It is 10:20 in the morning, and I have been watching the Braves over the weekend, and I'm probably
Right.
not communicating well. So let me rephrase it. I wonder, are people just generally going to be happier, just day in and day out, happier if they're interacting with people first versus saying, I got to get a sale. So I need Celeste to buy from me. And so I'm going to put you in a headlock and I'm going to get some money out of you. Or is it better for me to focus on the relationship with you first to generate those leads?
All right, very good. Thank you, sir. Absolutely. You do want to focus on the relationship and building the relationship. And there's basically three types of sales conversations that you need to have before you're going to get a sale. And what most people do, Mark, is they have a sales conversation in the wrong place at the wrong time. We've all been
Right.
to networking events where we've met people, and the first thing they want to do is they want to tell you how great their product and service is, and you need it, and blah 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 blah. And they're missing the whole part of the salutary conversation of what I call chit chat, small talk, building a relationship, and getting people to talk about themselves. So many times they want to talk about themselves instead of talking to the other person. The more you have somebody talk about themselves, the more they're going to listen to you. And most people want to
Right.
talk more about themselves, and those people are just tuning them out.
And when I hear this, when this topic comes up and I'm talking to new salespeople and I say, you really want to make sure that you're engaging with your target, your audience, the person you're selling to, ask about them. And there's a bridge here that I think makes it easier for me. And the bridge is be interested in them. And if you're
Absolutely.
genuinely interested in them, you do ask questions about them. You can say, "Hey, what'd you do this weekend?" Or, what do you do with your spare time? Who do you spend time with? And you're going to find that those people are going to be willing to share. Now, there are, and I have had awkward salespeople ask me drilling questions. So tell me about your family and how many this and what. And it's just awkward. Build a relationship with someone is really talking about them versus focusing on yourself.
Absolutely.
Um, I used to work in the hotel business as a salesperson, and we called something when we only talked about what the hotel had was feature vomit. That we just bleh, here's all the great things we got, and nobody finds that engaging.
If I
So
could add to that, Mark, could I add to that?
please,
In building the relationships, there are three types of conversations. And what happens is in the very first conversation that you have is a salutary conversation. It's a small talk where you get to know them. When I first started my consulting business, I would invite people to go have a cup of coffee or go have breakfast or lunch. And people used to say to me, and my mentors, you're going to go broke doing that. But you know what? I was closing 1 out of 2, 1 out of 2, 1 out of 2, because I was building that relationship. I didn't go to have a cup of coffee or go to have breakfast or lunch to sell them anything. I went to meet with them, to get to know them, to build a relationship, and to decide, first of all, in my mind, would these people be a good, ideal candidate for me or not? And I never talked about myself. I wanted to talk about them. And then there is an art to what I call, there's an art to a credit application. Well, there is an art to building relationships. And there are certain questions that you ask that aren't, like you say, the vomit or whatever, that you get to know about these people. And then what you have to do is, in that salutary conversation, you have to have a link for which is a call to action. And that call to action would be, if you and I had breakfast, is I would love to have another conversation with you, meet with you in person again, or another call where maybe we dive a little bit deeper into the content. And then then you have another link from that where you bring them into the opportunity conversation to where you're going to ask them to do business with you. But, there's 3 steps to that. But people, they never, number one, don't have a link. They go into one conversation and it's dead. And then they're moving on to the next one. So when you have a conversation, you want to have a link to a second conversation, which is a content conversation, which is the meat of what you do or what they do. And again, in that second conversation, I'm never going to talk about myself. I'm going to talk about them and their business. And I promise you, Mark, 9 times out of 10, when you end that second conversation, they're going to say, Celeste, all we've done is talk about me. Would you be so kind to tell me about you? Now, is it better?
Isn't that great?
Isn't it better for them to ask you to tell about yourself as opposed to you to shove it down their throat?
Right. Oh, I think that's brilliant. And I love, and it does become exactly true when you're asking about them and you're focused on them, they eventually get uncomfortable. They're like, Celeste, I'd like to learn a little bit about you. So tell me about whatever. And you've probably dropped some nuggets. They'll notice by either what you're wearing, or maybe they notice that you got a ring on your finger, you're married. Hey, tell me about your spouse. That is very cool. And it is a great way to build relationship. I know in the sales arena, when you're invited into the office was always a big deal, right? And it gives you an opportunity because they're inviting you into their space. And listen, I get so many solicitors calling me. I get so many emails every day. Hey, we've got the next best product in the world. I'm not inviting them into my office. When I do invite somebody in, that's a special thing. And I love that. The relationship, and it's the human part of what we do. On social, that's one of the things the best people do is when they're able to share social content that helps people connect to them. All right, I got a question for you. This is good. Here it comes. So Jason Wetland, Jason, thanks for tuning in, has asked, when you help a company work on lead gen, what do you focus on first?
Well, there's 3 things that we focus on. And the first thing is confidence. The second is control. And the third is confidence, control, and consistency. So a lot of people that come into whether it be direct sales and entrepreneurship, they lack self-confidence. Maybe they were confident in their corporate job or wherever they worked before, but starting their own business, they're going to lack self-confidence. So we're going to work on confidence with them. We're going to work on the me I see as the me I want to be. And who you are in your personal life is who you are in your business life. So that's what we're going to work on first.
I like that. So the me I see is the me I want to be.
Absolutely.
I'm repeating that. Morgan, we got to write that down. So Morgan is our show producer. She's off screen. She makes notes and we do a blog right after the show. So I really like that. And what was the other phrase you said after the me I see?
The me I see is the me I want to be. And
Okay.
who you are in your personal life is who you are in your business life. In today's
Good.
age, really in any age, Mark, you can't go out there and not be genuine and authentic. You can't pretend like you like people, because people are going to see right through it. You have to generally, like I say, number one, this is a gold nugget: fall in love with people and be authentic and truly care about people, because people don't care how much you know till they know how much you care. And it's about them. It's not about you.
That's absolutely right. I love that. So Jason Wetland is going to get his dollar's worth today. He's got a second question. This is awesome. Are there types of relationships that we should prioritize? The type of relationships we should prioritize. What do you think?
Um, well, I'm not so sure about types of relationships. I guess, I think of cold, warm, and hot leads. So I'm not quite sure with the relationships. One of the biggest relationships that is my inner circle is, I always believe in building your inner circle first. So
Bill?
that is where I prioritize, is my inner circle, and
Good.
focusing on friends and family and clients.
So inner circle, I think that's really interesting. Who's in your inner circle typically?
Um, Number one would be a spiritual life. My
Right?
spiritual life, that's important to me, and that's part of my
Mhm.
inner circle. I cannot operate on a daily basis without spending time in my spiritual life. I'm a Christian. Okay. The other part of my circle is my family and friends. Having the support of family and friends. I have seen time and time again how many people have burned out or lost businesses because they didn't have the support from family and friends, and because they didn't know what they didn't know, Mark.
Yeah.
And the other thing is to have a business and mentor in your back pocket, because you want somebody. And that's another thing: you don't want just any business mentor. You want somebody who has been there, done that, and has achieved the things that you want to achieve in your business. So many times they'll go out here, and I see people, they'll buy into this program, buy into that program. And I'm not here to judge other people's program, but those people have never, grossed $1 million in sales. Those people
Right.
have never did any kind of hiring, recruiting, and training, and developing, and promoting, and retention. So, make sure that you are reaching out to the right mentor and coach, but you need to have one that gives you some daily, weekly, and monthly accountability.
Oh,
Not,
I love that.
not just twice a month or once a month for a few minutes.
There is so much in what you just shared, which is probably the reason that people work with you, because just those little nuggets there are pieces that are probably hour-long conversations about each of them. I love
Absolutely.
to have a mentor. My mentor is a gentleman and I'll tell you who it is. His name is Phelps Hope. And Phelps has started a business. He went through '08 and all of the business dried up back then. And so he's done the entrepreneurial side. And I have lunch with him at least once a quarter, if not sooner, or more often, because he asks me the hard questions that people don't typically want to ask. I've got another question that's come up. This is fantastic. Let me do this. We're running over. If you don't mind, can we ask you another question that's come up?
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
love it. Okay, so here it is. This one is from Ian King. He says, "Love the focus on the pitfalls of an introductory meeting. Is there a difference between leads and introductions slash referrals?" So, and I think in this case, there's a lead and then there's the introduction. So if I knew someone that could do business with Ian, I would potentially introduce him and say, "Hey, I got potential business for you, Ian. Let me introduce you to Celeste." Right? Is there a difference?
Um, when you say, is there a difference?
Yeah, it's kind of so.
I'm not really following that, and I apologize, but yes, I do believe that we have a moral obligation to refer people to people that we know. I think a good business coach
Hmm.
should have a moral obligation to refer people to their circle right there.
Oh,
And that's one of the things that in my coaching clients, I have vetted a team. I have a team. I have social media, I have copywriters, I have admin persons, you know, and so I am going to refer my clients to my team. They don't have to go look for that. Now, in the public sector right there, you know, do I ask for referrals? Yes, I do ask for referrals, but I don't ask for referrals from people that I just meet. And that's another thing, you know, where people, you know,
Interesting.
again, don't build the relationships. You know, if you're not a good fit for me, if I know somebody, I'm going to refer you to somebody. Or if you have something, a need or a service or something, if I know somebody, I'm going to refer them to you, because I think a good coach or mentor is going to do that. They're not just going to keep that all themselves.
I think that you just hit something that I've never heard somebody articulate, and it is that referrals are not going to come from somebody you just met. Referrals are going to come from somebody that you have a relationship with.
You know, absolutely.
They know you.
I'm going to give you an example of, I have a client that was just recognized for this last weekend for outstanding customer volume. And we've been working on this for a couple of years, and she was building relationships with her clients. She implemented a blog that she put out every month, had call to actions in the blog. And the thing of it is, she was building relationships. And then next thing you know, people were referring people to her. And that's what you want. Get them involved. Give them a taste of you. I always think about it. What I teach my clients is, think about a 5-course meal. How many people have ever been to a 5-star restaurant for a 5 or 6-course meal? You're going to be there 2, 3, 4 hours if you're at the right place.
Right.
And
Right.
you start off with an appetizer, and then it goes to this, and then it goes to this, and this, and this, and this. And what happens is so many people want to make us try to get a sale and say, come work with me at this amount of money, but they've never had a taste of you. I want them to have a taste of me in a smaller level, so they can make sure that they are a good fit. I'm very excited that a lot of the clients that come work with me are repeat people. I retain them. They sign up year after year after year, and it's because they got a taste of me. And I didn't say you have to sign a 12-month contract and this, and they don't know nothing about me. I give them an appetizer. I'll give them a 90-day program, and the 90-day program might turn into a 12-month program or a 6-month program. But once they get through that step, as long as you're providing good value and you truly care about them, they're here for life.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Money.
Oh, I love that. Well, so Celeste, we could keep going. I hate to say this, we're running out of time, and that's a bit of a bummer. But here's what's great: if you're tuning in, you really like what Celeste is sharing, you can see her live and in person tonight at SPIRE. It starts at 5:30. You can go to the SPIRE website, spire-atl.com. And I think, Morgan, do we have that built? spire-atl.com. There it is. It's on the screen. You can go there to learn more about the event. Come and see Celeste tonight. And if you have a question that maybe you were afraid to ask, you could meet up with Celeste and ask her one-on-one. I think that would be cool. There's so much here. And the spirituality piece is one that I would love to have a longer conversation. We just don't have time to get there. Make sure you're connecting to your spiritual life, and define that as you may. I am in the camp with Celeste as a Christian, but that is so important that you spend time in that arena. And again, Celeste, you and I could probably do a whole show on that and the value of it. But since we're out of time, let's do this. Where do you want people to find you?
The best place would be my website at celestegiordano.com. Has everything there, and I would love to have them visit the website. I have a blog. They can sign up for a blog. It comes out every Thursday at 9:30 in the morning for 7 years, 52 weeks.
Wow.
A year. There's been a blog in their inbox at 9:30 every Thursday morning.
Oh, that is fantastic. Well, Celeste, I love that you were here. There are other ways that all of you watching can connect with Celeste. Check out the show notes. We will drop all of her links, and including LinkedIn and other places that you've heard. She understands the value of social media. That's fantastic. And staying in touch with your audience there. Celeste, thank you so much for joining us today. I truly appreciate the time. We learned a ton from you today, and I'm very impressed with the work that you do. So thank you for being here. Hang out. Don't go anywhere. I'd love to chat with you once we close down the live portion of the show and just do some quick follow-up. Sound good?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Mark.
All right.
Honor and
You
privilege.
bet. Thank you. So for the rest of you folks, so glad that you're here. If you're new to How's Your ePresence, this show is a digital marketing show. We typically try to focus on how you can build your business on the marketing side. We reach a little further out with SPIRE. This is a good relationship, and this is great because we really focused on sales today. It seemed a little bit of a sale, which is nice. What do we do at ePresence? A full-service social media agency. In fact, our tagline is social media solved. What we do is we help companies and individuals get online and stay active through their social media, and that can be defined as you may. We also offer consulting and training. I did a training program yesterday with Discover Dunwoody, where they brought in all their key stakeholders, and we talked about how they could activate, excuse me, let me rephrase that. They can improve their LinkedIn profiles. If you're interested in anything that we do, you can, just by being a viewer of our show, you can get a 5% discount on all of our services just by going to that link, e-pr.me/listener. Now, that's a shortened version of our URL for our company, which I'm going to show you in a second. But that's where you go, e-pr.me/listener, and you can get a 5% discount just by being a viewer. How's Your ePresence is everywhere. You can find us on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Please subscribe. There's a subscribe button on that side over there. Hit that subscribe button. That way you get notified when we go live, and you can ask questions as Ian and Jason did today. How cool was that? They got their personal questions answered live and on the air. If you're a podcast listener, you can catch all of our shows at epresence.me/podcast. There's our website, epresence.me. That's epresence.me, because it's all about you, /podcast. You can catch all of our shows there. We are everywhere on every podcast channel you can imagine, even Spotify. I always give my kids a hard time that I'm on Spotify, just like all those famous artists they listen to every day. We're dropping content every week. Just take a look at your podcast app. You add us there. We will drop that podcast on your phone or wherever you catch your podcasts. And then finally, our website. You can find our website, epresence.me is our website. This is where we offer all the great information, including blogs, and we'll do a blog as well on this show. So you can take a look at some of the notes that we pulled from our conversation with Celeste. This show is produced by ePresence. Our producer, writer, and social media extraordinaire is Morgan Wood. Thank you, Morgan, so much for the work you do. Until next time, for my SPIRE guest, Celeste Giordano, our producer, Morgan Wood, and me, thanks for watching How's Your ePresence?